And to be honest with you, I'm so glad that I decided to write the book and was encouraged to do so, because in some of the worst moments of the last 6 or 7 months, the book is what saved me. The book is what gave me hope. The book kept me positive. The book kept me very focused. We're not asking for permission anymore. We are not waiting for anybody. We are going to show up for ourselves, and we're going to step into our power. We're going to take up space. We're going to show up. We're going to be authentic. We're going to be unapologetic. And I had to say those things in days where they were dragging people off and separating families. And the talk about like the tension that was held between those two things in the period of a day. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I followed through.
I think about how the current state of the country is pushing out the good people and who's going to stay, you know?
Who's going to stay? What is this
Oh.
country going to look like in 10, 15 years?
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
Welcome back to Café con Pam, the bilingual podcast que comparte nuestras historias sin censura. El día de hoy tenemos una conversación con Hady Méndez. Hady is a New York-based Amazon best-selling author, Latina speaker, and ERG coach. She's the founder and CEO of Boldly Speaking, LLC, a company that is transforming the professional experience of women and people of color by empowering underrepresented employees with the skills to self-advocate, self-promote, and ascend into leadership roles with employee resource groups, also known as ERGs, and of course, across organizations. Hady has a diverse career spanning over 25 years, and she served as head of equality for a major tech firm. She's held multiple customer facing roles in high tech and financial services. Also, she's been a leader and advisor across various ERGs. She's volunteered as an international champion for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women, and served as community school director at an elementary school in the South Bronx. Hady's essays have been featured in Business Insider, Wheel Girl Latina, and her thought leadership has been leveraged by organizations such as Hack Diversity, Power to Fly, Leaning Latinas, and many others. Hady's awesome. Hady is a Latinas in Tech Luminarias 2022 honoree, a Women of Alpha in 2023 Latinas to Watch, and a LinkedIn top coaching and mentoring voice. In her free time, Hady is an amateur street art photographer and an avid podcast listener. Bueno, listeners, mi conversación with Hady, of course, we talk about her recent book, Calladita No More, and we dive into her story. And because the book is very much a autobiography slash memoir slash very much her story, we had a lot of fun. And, I talk everything Calladita culture. And so when I heard that Hady was writing the book called Calladita No More, I was like, let's go. And I gave her a note. Ay, se me olvidó el nombre de cómo se dice what I gave her. An endorsement. I also gave her an endorsement for the book. So you'll see my name written on the book as well, because it's definitely something that this is the time for us to use our voice, speak our truth, stand in our power. Sin más, here's my conversation with Hady Méndez. Hady Méndez, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. A little busy. Things have been a little hectic on my side, but
Good hectic?
yeah, mostly good hectic. I'm doing a lot of running around because I'm trying to publicize this book and it
I
takes work.
know. You're on tour.
But todavía no, pero estoy setting up the tour.
I know. I know. You're on it. I love it. So let's take us back a little bit. Tell me, what's your heritage?
I'm Puerto Rican, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Officially, that makes me New Yorican. But
Mm.
I think we all, even if we're not born there, if our parents are from there, um, I think we all still identify as Boricua. So I'm Boricua, I'm New Yorican, I'm Puerto Rican. And I actually recently obtained my Puerto Rican citizenship. So I'm also a Puerto Rican citizen officially, according to my papeles now.
Nice. So let's break that down because some people, a lot of people, might be confused about the whole dynamic of Puerto Rico in the US. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yes, yes.
So how could you be a citizen of Puerto Rico when Puerto Rico, según, is parte of the US?
So, okay, let me say two things. One is the people who qualify are either people that are born there, people that have lived there for like a certain amount of time, or people that have parents that live there and or that were born there, and that's me. I'm the last one. Is I'm have parents that were born there, so that qualifies me to be a Puerto Rican citizen. A Puerto Rican citizen could be like that citizenship papel could be something you could hang on your wall and just be like, I'm a Puerto Rican
Mhm.
citizen, but really you're an American citizen because Puerto Rico is a commonwealth of the United States. So basically, I'm still an American citizen. Plus, I have my Puerto Rican citizenship. Why did I want it? Because I can go to many other countries with that citizenship papel being a Latin American citizenship, and I can get my citizenship in another country much more quickly than if I did applied as a US citizen. An example being if I went to Mexico and I said, "Hey, I love Mexico. I like living here. I want to be a Mexican citizen." I could become a citizen in 2 years with my Puerto Rican citizenship.
Ha!
And the same is true for like Spain and other places. So, it's like reparations. It's your
Yeah.
reparation papeles.
No.
But it's a hookup and it's great. And I know like it was a very little known thing, and I think mostly it wasn't worth it to do it because it's like we're American citizens. Like, what more do you want?
Right. At some point, being a US citizen was, like, the thing.
Yeah, but ya no. Ya I there's benefits to having other to identify and have citizenships in other ways. And so yeah,
Mm.
it's my secret, it's my ticket to ride. I see where it's gonna take me.
I love that. What made you decide to get it now and not before?
I want to say Bad Bunny, but like it's so funny, but it's like, okay, so I just went to Puerto Rico before the Bad Bunny tour.
Before?
I applied for the citizenship before I went to the Bad Bunny tour, but I've been in love with Bad
Oh, you
Bunny.
did go to the tour.
I did go to the
Okay,
concert.
good. Yeah. I was like, "Did you miss it? Don't tell me you missed it."
No, no. So I fell in love with Bad Bunny when the album dropped in January. And then so I bought my tickets almost right away to go to see him in Puerto Rico. And then,
Nice.
you know, I think one of the things that Bad Bunny did for the Puerto Rican diaspora is to really bring us in, include us. So now there's like, it's a bigger tent.
Yeah.
So it's like you could have been born in Puerto Rico and moved to the US, or maybe you were born in the US, but your parents were from Puerto Rico, or maybe you just born in Puerto Rico and lived in Puerto Rico your whole life. Like there's lots of us and we show up in different ways. And I feel like he included everybody.
Mm.
And then that made me feel like now I'm like, oh, I want to be Puerto Rican. That's like, that's where my abuelo was born. Like there's a song that he sings that he's like, aquí, de aquí tú no me saca, I'm gonna forget the words. The something, something, something. Este, I don't remember the words, but it's like, donde nació mi
Pero qué padre.
abuelo? Yeah, I don't remember the words. I forgot. And too much pressure. But he does say, donde nació mi abuelo. And I'm like, hey, that's Puerto Rican people that were born in Puerto Rico. And that's me too. My abuelo was born in Puerto Rico, and my mom and my mother and father were born in Puerto Rico. And so I'm entitled to be a Puerto Rican citizenship too. And circumstances were such that I wasn't born there, but I identify very much as a Puerto Rican.
Mm.
So what kind of brought me to it was like a little bit of him making me feel more included, and then just knowing that it opens more doors to opportunities for me. And like, this is not a great time to be living in the United States. We know it, that it's like we're very much under attack, and I want options. I'm a party of one. I don't have children. I don't have a husband. Yo no tengo marido, no tengo hijo, yo me voy. Like, I'll pack my bags up and I'll leave. And so it's like now I got the papeles necessary to be able to do that and resettle somewhere else if I need to or if I want to. And that's where you want to be.
And it's kinda wild to think about that this is where we are, you
I
know?
know. You're not kidding. Like I think our parents and grandparents would be like, "What? We sacrificed so much to come here and now we're
Yeah,
leaving?" But it's like,
exactly.
hey, this is going to be such a pivotal moment in history, like when future generations read about how like we all migrated to the US and then we all migrated back somewhere else. And I'm considering plans to move to Europe, which would take me all the way back to like the my other ancestors, like
Right.
according to 23andMe, I was born my ancestors come from Spain and Portugal. And so that would be interesting if that's where I ended up. And
Wow.
I will tell you for real, I went to Portugal recently, like in the last 2 years, and I feel very much at home in Portugal. I ain't gonna lie. Like I was eating,
Portugal is
yeah, I
nice.
was eating bacalao and eating my bread, and I was, I
Mhm.
was like, wow, like I feel like something about my spirit was like, I've been here, I've been here before, like something like that.
Yeah. And you brought up something that this specific topic that I've been thinking about a lot because I think often how 47 talks about how Latin America sends the worst to this country, and that's, why all the attacks and all the things that are happening. But then I've been having a lot of conversations. I do a lot of consulting for different companies, and oftentimes these are global conversations that I have with people all over the world. And I have met in the last 3 months so many Americans have left the country. And these are scientists, these are people with
Yeah.
high level títulos, o sea, like trabajan en compañías y tienen un trabajo muy bueno. They just
See,
go to the HQ. And so it makes me wonder, like you're talking about leaving and you're good people, So I think about how the current state of the country is pushing out the good people and who's going to stay.
who's gonna stay? What is this
Oh,
country gonna look like in 10, 15 years is gonna be interesting. I mean, I think there'll still be a lot of us here because, not everyone has the privilege or the opportunity to move abroad or the desire, quite frankly. Some people want to stay and some people want to fight. And, like I have a niece who wants, she lives in California. She wants to be a senator. And I'm like,
wow. That's
I'll come,
awesome.
yeah, I'll come back and be her. I don't know if I'll be her campaign manager. I might be too old for that, but I'll be her, like,
You're
whatever she
not too
wants me to
old,
be.
Hattie.
I'll carry her suitcases or her bags or something. But,
Yes.
so some people, not everybody wants to go. And I guess it depends what age and stage you're in. Like, I feel like I was already thinking about a lower cost living location. I was already thinking of a slower life. I was already thinking of
Mm,
like just wanting to explore and do I love, who doesn't love traveling, but I've always enjoyed it. And I feel like because I am single and without children, I can move around a lot easier than some other people. A lot of people, they take that into consideration. I have, friends and family members they got kids and their kids, everybody's working. It's like you can't just get up and go like that is not an option for everybody.
totally.
So there'll be plenty of us left here. I'm going to come back and visit, and who knows, you don't know what twists and turns life is going to take you
I
through.
know.
But I know that for my retire as I ease my way into retirement, I am definitely looking to live that soft life, that easy life that, I want to like be doing things I love and being around people
Mhm.
I love and, just not sufriendo and not like in the struggle and not, hustling hard.
Like even being afraid to leave the house.
Exactly. Bueno, yo desde varios meses, I've been carrying my birth certificate around, my passport. I had to like finally be like, okay, you can leave the passport at home, but put the little I have like an extra copy of my birth certificate. I keep it in my purse that I like kind of like the thing that I just my I don't know what you call it, a crossover body bag or something. So I just keep
Yeah.
it there and it's just permanently there. And I'm like, I have my birth certificate if I need it. Pero esos son sanganaces, so that's so stupid. Like, I'm like, what are we coming down to that is necessary? And I'm born and raised here.
I know. It's wild.
Yeah, we don't want to be living in fear. We don't want to be living with anxiety. De eso lo que me tiene a mí lo más es de noche, me da mucho, like I just get very I have to manage like how many videos I'm watching of people getting
Mhm.
detained and dragged away. I try to manage all that so that I can rest because I have important work to do and I don't want to. like my work to be disrupted by all of this noise and all of these things that are meant to be distractions. So I have to stay very focused and grounded.
Yeah, it's that finding that, I don't want to call it balance because it's not, but that interesting dance between being true and updated, and we don't want to be like living in
With our
la la
heads in the
land.
sand. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's work to do, which takes me to, you wrote a book, Calladita No More. I love it.
Yeah.
So why now? What brought you to say this is the time?
Yeah. It is interesting. So I have to tell, I started, I joined like a book, like a accelerated program to work with the book coach last fall. So this was pre-election. It was probably like October. It was probably October. And I was like, had my vision and the title and what I wanted to write about. And after the election, I actually was wondering whether it was a good time to write it. Cause I was like, man, like this just feels like there's gonna be such bigger fish to fry. Is this the time for me to be doing this?
Mm,
And it's interesting because I was in the cohort, my cohort, the people, my fellow members of this accelerator program were all non-white. Sorry, non-Latino. They were all white, not Hispanic.
okay.
And every single one of them encouraged me to write the book. They were like, "No, you have to write it. Now you really have to write it." And so I thought that was like a good I took that as a good sign that like they were like, "No, you can't. Now is not the time to be silent. Now is not the time to you know, uh keep guard, be guarded. It's not the time to be guarded." Like that was my
To be quiet.
yeah, it was I think that's what I was thinking. It's like, well, I'll just kind of sit in a corner and I'm just going to have to tragármela and deal with this. And to be honest with you, I'm so glad that I decided to write the book and was encouraged to do so because in some of the worst moments of the last 6 or 7 months, the book is what saved me. The book is what gave me hope. The book kept me positive. The book kept me very focused. It has been such a life saving thing for me. Like it really gave me hope in very difficult moments. So so that book has a lot of our struggle in the pages, you know what I mean? Like that it
Mhm.
was hard to some days were hard to get those words out and to because I'm providing people with hope. Part of the book is for me to say, we're not asking for permission anymore. We are not waiting for anybody. We are gonna show up for ourselves and we're gonna step into our power. We're gonna take up space. We're gonna show up. We're gonna be authentic. We're gonna be unapologetic. And I had to say those things in days where they were dragging people off and separating families and the talk about like the tension that was held between those two things in the period of a day. But I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I followed through.
I love that you have questions after each chapter, and you also open with refranes, which is awesome.
I love the
So
refranes too.
I know they're so fun, but I'm curious because it's a very anecdotal, autobiographical type of book. So you share a lot of personal stories, and I wonder what stories didn't make the book.
Hmm. um there were definitely some stories that didn't make it. You're looking for a good one or a bad one? Because like I have a good
Ooh,
story that I wish I had
give me
included.
both. Why
Okay,
not?
so let me see if I got to think of a bad one. But while I think of the bad one, I'll tell you a good one. There was one situation, one time that I spoke up at work, um, that led to like I thought that the our department or our team could benefit from having a reverse mentoring program. So instead of just having traditional like someone senior mentors a younger person, I wanted it to be reverse mentoring, but for the I guess the context to be DEI. So in other
Mm,
words, a person of color, a woman, someone from some underestimated group is gonna mentor white cisgender men. And we did it. We got it to work. And I
nice.
ended up being partnered with like the head of the department. And de casualidad, he was my age. So I don't know how old we were when this happened. Let's say call it 45. We were both 45. And he was like, how, and like as he got to know me and he got to see all the work I had done, he's like, why are you not in a more senior role? Like you have so much experience and you went to like you work for such great companies and you have and I was like, yeah, that is a good question. You and riddle me that. Like you tell me why I don't have a more senior role. I'm
Yeah.
like, that is the problem. You have named it and you have seen it for yourself.
Yeah.
That why am I in not a more senior role? He just como que no le cabía en la cabeza.
Wow.
Because he thought like maybe I was a little younger, a little bit more wet behind the ears. And he was like, no, you're awesome. Like you have such great experience. And he was like, mira que he was an SVP and I wasn't even a director at that time. And we're not even talking about money.
Right. Right.
Because money wise, I'm sure he was making like 3, 4 times what I was making.
Yes. At
Or at
least.
least twice. According to the numbers, he probably the chances were that he was making at least twice. But the truth is, it's at least twice when it's the same level. He was like several levels ahead of me. So he was probably making 3 or 4 times what I was making. And we were the same age, same experience, not the same, not the, everybody is un mundo. So we're not the same person. We have different experiences. But I
Mhm.
think he could see that it was like, we're not that different for this gap to be this big between you and me. He saw it, he recognized it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a bad and a good one. So I'll count
I
it for
know.
both.
It's like
It'll tick both boxes for me. But that was one story that didn't make it, not on purpose, but like, it's just like there's a lot of stories. So it's just like not everyone was gonna make it. And there were some other more important ones that I think needed to be said.
for sure. So now I want to dig through this one. So as he said this to you, like why are you not in a more senior role? Did he do anything to help you climb?
A lot of things. So there was a video that we were doing for one of our biggest customers, which I was one of the many people that was assigned to work with the biggest customer that this company had, and he made sure I was in the video, so I got some little exposure there. We used to do during our all hands calls, we would bring in customers from time to time and like interview them and find out how they were using the product and all this stuff. He made sure that I also was represented there. He was a sponsor to get me promoted.
Nice.
And then when I ended up leaving the team, he was like, "Who do I need to talk to say good things about you? Like who's going to be your new manager? Who do I need to I guess share all the great things that you're capable of with?" So he ended up being a big fan.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I asked this because I think for the listeners who want to be Calladita No More, I think we also, which you share all of this in the book, we need to do our part without expecting handouts. Like this story that you just shared, and the many of them that you have in the book, show how you've never been a victim of the system. You've worked hard, le has echado ganas, you've done your best. And because we tend to be overlooked, this is where like those types of sponsorships and allyships that you also talk about in the book are so important without crying about it, without being like, oh, nobody sees me.
Yeah, we don't want to be the victim because that's not going to get us anywhere. It's like it is unfortunate. This is our cross to bear. It ain't good, but ni modo. No nos queda otra. We got to keep going. So to me, it's just like, okay, I accept that this is a broken system, and it is. I end up being on the bad end of things most of the time, and I got to work twice as hard. And I'm over it. I'm just gonna find a way to be successful anyway.
For sure. So I've given this example before. I use the metaphor of a bridge, how some people are, call it white people, they are born with a bridge that's been built, you
Yes.
know? And so when they start, like, from the moment they're born, just because their last name is whatever, Smith, that already gives them access to certain things.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the family access, you know? I never had a conversation about money. I never had a conversation about budgeting. Your book is dedicated to your mom, who never held a corporate job.
And didn't have a bank account or a credit card.
I know. and so and so we also have to look at the reality of things, how like el vecino va a tener un bridge that's like already has steps and they can like walk through it much easier. We are building as we go.
Yes.
And the other thing that's I think important to highlight is that, which I noticed the themes throughout your book of, you brought family all the time. You know, like talk about your mom, you talk about your dad, you talk about your sisters. And so that's a very much a Latino thing, that we bring our familias with us.
Yeah.
And so we also, I think, want to give ourselves grace that as we navigate this space where we are overlooked, underrepresented, maybe even quieted, it's important to remind ourselves that we have a bridge that we're building.
Hmm.
And then we're like carrying our little siblings behind us, or our parents, or whatever it is. And so it's the card that we were handed, and that's it.
It is. And I think the sooner we can accept it, I think the sooner we can start to find ways to overcome it.
Yes.
I just feel like there's not a lot of upside to dwelling and sitting in it. There's a whole chapter that I have on steadfast y positiva.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about lo que es para ti nadie te lo va a quitar. Así que prepárate, stay ready, get ready for what's coming. Stay, process the things that are difficult. But don't get stuck in them. Don't dwell there. Don't stay there. Find ways to superarte and then to start getting ready because las cosas van a venir y we don't know when they're coming. Puede que venga mañana or it could come 5 years from now. And so we just have to stay ready, stay positive, keep planting seeds, building relationships, finding people to align with, to grow with. There's a lot we can do during the waiting period. And I call it waiting, not because we're not doing anything, but because we're preparing ourselves for the things that we want
Mm-hmm.
and that we hope for. And we just know that these things don't happen overnight, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like it, but it's like these things, se toman tiempo and you have to be patient, but positive and persevere. Seguir adelante. No te puede, what is it? No te puede tirar a morir. No te puede dar por vencida. You can't give up. You have to continue to forge ahead and find partners in the work and find joy in the journey because the journey could be
Mm-hmm.
long or the journey could be short. But like it can't be just like, I want that end game. I want the thing that I want. It's like, but find ways to find joy and positivity and get animo even as you're working towards the thing that you want.
Yeah, for sure. That made me think of when you hike a mountain, you're just looking at the peak and like, oh, me falta mucho.
Yeah.
But if you were to pause, and then like look back and look at how much you've climbed, that's
Exactly.
already a beautiful win. And it's happened to me when I've climbed mountains, and when I've hiked mountains, I don't climb. Um, where I like take a pause and then I look behind me, and it's such a beautiful landscape that I hadn't given myself the time to look back, which I think a lot of people, especially in the US, but the monochronic culture of the US is like just chase the next success, chase, chase, chase,
Yeah.
chase,
You don't even you're barely celebrating it and you're on to the next thing.
yeah,
That's a horrible thing that we do here. It really is.
yes, totally.
I have been victim to that. Like I'm like, oh, okay, been there, done that. Next. And it's a disfavor or yeah, it's not something good that we do at all. That's not a positive thing.
Because it makes it like it doesn't bring us back to the truth of what we want, I would say. But then we can look at our countries. I mean, I'm sure it happens to you when you go to Puerto Rico. When I go to Mexico, and even when I went to Puerto Rico is one of my favorite places. It's beautiful. It's this like slowness,
Yeah.
it like the moment, I don't know if it happens to you, but the moment I land, it's almost like my body breathes and it's like,
Yes. The
chill.
monkey's off your back.
Yes.
I actually lived in South America for 2 years.
Yeah, your Bolivia trip.
Yeah, I lived in Bolivia for 2 years, and I experienced what you're saying like every day because they were a very contemplative. A lot of it was not like, where are you going or what are you doing? It's like, we're here. It was
Yes.
more present than like
Yes.
the goal. The goals are for few and far between. I remember, in fact, that I was doing a workshop with the women there. It was the women that had gotten out of prison, and I was doing a workshop with them. And I was like, what's your 2 to 3 year plan? And they were like looking at me like I had 10 eyes. They're like, what? I'm like, what do you want to do? What are your goals? And they were like, ¿qué? Pero qué cosa, hermana? Like, what are you talking about? That was like very foreign to them. They're more, they, especially even in the way they sell, ellos venden ese día.
Claro.
Le preparan la comida esa mañana y van a la calle y venden ese día. Lo que se preparó esa mañana. And then they bring home the money that they earned that day. It's very like contained.
Day to day, yeah.
Yeah, it's day to day. So that whole culture and vibe is so different. And that was one of the things I really loved about living there, was that it forced me to be that way too, because I couldn't really plan ahead that much. Like that was not a thing.
Right.
I was not rewarded for that. They were, in fact, it was frowned upon. It was like, what are you talking about? Like, que se va, what, let's talk about now. How are you feeling in this moment? ¿Cómo te sientes? ¿Qué tal cosa? So yeah, I learned a lot there.
And it's to bring it back to Calladita, and I talk about Calladita culture. I think it brings us back to just being, because we're doing all the time.
Yeah.
And so when we're able to say, who are you right now in this moment? Just, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yep.
We don't know. But right now, right here, right now, even this moment in time that you and I are sharing, it's never going to happen again.
Yeah.
We can meet again. You can come back to
Yeah.
Café another time, but it's not going to be the same moment in time,
Correct.
And I think monochronic cultures in time, like culturally, people that live within time, which is such a construct, tend to be unhappier because it's just, you're not here. You're like, what's the
Yeah.
next thing? What's the
Yeah.
next checkbox that I can do?
I agree with you. I remember that you did like a really good, maybe it was 1 or 2 episodes on that very topic, because
Mhm.
I remember where I was when I was listening to it, because I was like, which am I? But
And you might have messaged me about it now that I think
I
about it.
I think I did, because it really resonated with me. But we do ourselves a disservice when we're not, like, we're just focused on the future. But I do think that there is some upside to thinking about the future. Like I'm definitely, like, as an example, there's a chapter called Descubriendo Your Why. So it's like discovering your why. And I think that is somewhat future related, because you're saying, well, what's the point of my life? Why am I here? And what am I here to do?
Yeah.
And I feel like it helps a lot with like where you're gonna go. It helps to guide you in where you want to go. So it is a now exercise, an exercise that you do now, but it helps you, and it guides you in where you go, and like kind of how you get there and who you go there with, and like your spirit and your attitude that you bring into getting there and all of that. So I do feel like that, in that sense, I could see the upside of thinking of that, because it's providing you guidance and direction.
Totally. We do need to have a North Star. And being from the city, I mean, you're from the city and I'm from Mexico City. We like, it's almost like our bodies kind of need a North Star. Like, okay, sure, I'll be in the present, and what am I going to look at? What am I looking forward to? I think that's also important. I agree.
Yes, and I remember when I was in corporate, during my corporate days, I lived for vacation. So I always needed to have like, where am I going and how soon is it? And that was the thing that just like in those hard days, I was like, but I'm going to Mexico in 3 months, or I'm going to be in Puerto Rico in a week, or whatever it was. It just gave me it was a little carrot to just be like, keep going.
For
On
sure.
those hard days, it was like, just keep going. You got something good to look forward to.
You tell me what you think, because you live in, quote, non-traditional life. So you've shared, you don't have a husband, you don't have kids, you can literally pick up your stuff and leave, which is what would be considered a non-traditional path from what we've been socialized as women to follow.
Ah!
I know. I also live in non-traditional. Like, I'm not gonna have children. And because of the normative beliefs around who women need to be, which is part of being calladita or not, how have you chosen to just live your life without the constraints, the expectations, maybe perhaps the potential shame that people might be like, ooh, but you didn't follow, that road?
Well, I guess I'll start by saying that I don't consider it to be non-traditional. Like I'm like
Yeah, that's why I put it in quotations.
it's been my life for some time. I have been married and I've been married twice and divorced twice. And I feel like I don't know if the married life is for me. I will never say never, but I'm much happier on my own. And I love the ability to be nimble and just be like, I don't know, I don't want to live here anymore, or I don't want to do that anymore. Or I just feel like staying in today in my pajamas, which I don't do very often, or I want to go for a walk or whatever. I love the ability to decide how I live my life in every single facet. So
Mm.
that's I do enjoy that. And that's why it's like I actually wrote a Substack about this. I'm like, it is gonna take quite the person to get me out of my current situation because it is a good situation. So it's like I'm not really trying to leave my circumstances because I feel like a lot of freedom and independence. And I like that. I value that, I guess.
Did you always value it?
Yeah, I think I did. I feel like the first time I got married, I was very young, and it was like everybody was getting married, so I was like, "Let me get married before like no one picks me." I was like 25.
Mm, but that's a path, right? Like, we tend to see the models and we tend to follow
Yeah, it's
them.
like ya es hora, ya es
Right.
hora de casarte, like literally. So I was like, "All right, good enough. Good enough," and that didn't work out very well. And we were a mixed race, mixed culture, and I don't think that that's problematic at all. But like in our case, it was a problem. But that's because we were very young and immature. And then I got married again a few years after that. Also, it was a interracial marriage. I've had two interracial, and actually they were both interfaith marriages too. So both
Wow.
of them were like that. And my second one, I was definitely more mature, but I just yeah, I don't know. It was a rough time in my life, and I feel like I needed space. And so I got divorced pretty quickly after the second marriage, and then I haven't like really been in a serious relationship since. Um, but anyway, going back to, I think you said something about like judgment or whatever. I don't I don't know if people judge me, but I don't know anything about it. A mí no me han
Nice.
dicho nada. So like maybe they're saying it, but they're not saying it to me. And mejor que no me lo digan también, by the way.
Right.
I don't really care like what other people's opinions are, to
She know
be
how to
frank.
hold back.
Like I'm like, it's my life. I'm pretty happy with it. I read the book Tias and Primas,
See,
and I identify with so many of the archetypes, and it's like, to me the way I live my life is liberating. It's freeing.
yes.
It's just, yeah, it's life-giving to me. So I don't want to change it unless I have to, or unless there's a good reason to. And
Mm,
and thankfully it's a lot. I think having that freedom from, relationships and children and all of that, it's opened up space for me to write this book.
right.
I dedicate it to my mom, but it's also a lot in large part dedicated to the next generation because I want them to learn from, the things that I experienced. And so I don't have a child, but I have many. Those are many children or many family members that I wrote the book
I
for.
love that. Actually, let's take a coffee break. So let's go quick coffee break.
Okay.
Sabrosura pa' ti que qué.
So, how did you drink coffee?
I do. I actually have a little coffee in here.
Nice. How do you drink your coffee?
Usually two ways. Either I have cold brew black,
Okay.
no sugar. So just
I
cold brew
see. Straight.
straight. Yeah, and I make it at home.
Oh, you make your own cold brew.
Yeah,
Mm,
and it's really
nice, nice,
good.
nice.
And so that's my favorite, and that's how I'll have it at home. And then when I'm out, I like oat milk cortado is what I have. So it's espresso
Ooh,
with a little bit of milk.
nice.
Yep. And cinnamon.
Okay.
Un poquito de canela. Yeah, I like that.
On the warm one? On the hot one?
On the hot one. Yeah, when I do the oat milk, even if it's cold, but if I do the cortado, I like the cortado with cinnamon.
With a little cinnamon? Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Cold brew. I used to, when I was a barista a long time ago, my one of my tasks was to make the cold brew. And I used to make a 24-hour cold brew. And so it's like that was strong. And but there's a finesse. There's a way to make cold brew that where it you can if you can drink cold brew without adding anything and it tastes really good, there's
Yeah.
this sweetness to the cold brew if you
It
make it well.
is. Yeah. The nitro cold brew is the best one because the nitro is the foamy and
It
it's
brings
like
it foamy.
and it's like a little caramelly, chocolatey or
Yes.
something. It's got like its own sweetness to it. That's
It highlights the notes.
yeah, and there's nothing and there's no sugar, there's no milk, there's no nothing, pero tiene algo.
Yeah. Do you want to give a shout out to a coffee shop in your neighborhood or in the
I'm gonna
city?
give a shout out to two.
Yeah.
Can I give out two? So one is my old coffee shop in Brooklyn that I haven't been to in a minute, but they make the best cold brew, and it's called Hungry Ghost, and they were in the bottom of the building where I live, so I
Oh,
would like wake up,
nice.
ciega to go get my coffee. So
Mm,
the Hungry Ghost, that was my spot back in the day, and then um now I want to give a shout out to Birch. Birch is like a little chain in New York. It's not like Starbucks, type thing, but it is a little chain. There's a couple of locations, and it's quite good. It's called Birch, Birch,
okay.
and it's cute, and all the locations are really nice. And they use a type of milk that is literally like they make the milk, and it's just like milk. It's like I don't know what the base is because they're all plant based, but it's like something in water, and the milk is just very como que porque es bien natural. So they don't use the leche de
Mm,
cartón. They use the leche that they make, and it's very fresh. And I have a very sensitive stomach, so that chef's kiss.
nice. And it's close to you now?
No, it's not close to me. It's I only go there when I go into the city. When I go to Manhattan, I'm about 90 minutes
Oh,
outside the city. So when I go to Manhattan, I always make a stop at Birch.
nice. Well, on my end, I'm drinking mushroom coffee and cacao. So I've been
Mm.
talking about cacao, and I'm in my first cacao cup, and then I did a splash of coffee because it's early for me.
Yeah, a little pep in your step.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. I don't have a shout out, but there's amazing coffee shops in San Diego that people can visit. More and more popping up, which is awesome.
I love like independent coffee shops.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like kind of my favorite thing to do now is to visit a city and like Google like where's the best coffee spot and then hopefully they have like a vegan gluten-free treat I can have. I was just in SF. Well, actually I was in the Bay Area, but I was in Mountain
Yes, how
View.
was it?
I was in Mountain View for the Lean in Latinas conference and I woke up
Yeah.
early. There was a place I walked there from where I was, which usually in other states not every place is walk pedestrian friendly,
Mhm.
but so I was like right next to the highway the whole time. I'm like, these people gonna run me over. But anyway, I did make it to downtown Mountain View
Nice.
and I hit up this amazing coffee shop. The name I cannot remember, but the coffee was bomb and they had gluten-free, dairy-free treats for me. And
Mm.
one was like a mocha, a mocha, not a
Ooh.
mochi muffin, and it was and it was like a matcha. It was either matcha or ube. I can't remember if it was green or purple. It was like a one of those. So it was like either ube or matcha
Matcha,
um
mochi.
mochi muffin. Yeah. Woo, say that 10 times fast. But it was whatever it was, me lo comí como un telegrama. It was so good. It was like I like took the first bite and I was like, wow, this is good. And I love when they do that for us because the tendency is to make gluten-free stuff that doesn't taste good. And it's like that's so hurtful and insulting to people like me. I'm
Right.
like, we're not worth it for you to try a little harder. You're just gonna give us something that tastes like paper or like, sand or dirt. And
Right.
so when someone goes out of their way to make it delicious and like a good
Mm,
consistency, and it was soft and airy and tasty and a beautiful
mm,
color. And I was like, that's somebody who cares. Like they cared for people like me, and I really appreciate it.
right. And they care about their craft, I would say.
Yeah.
Because I've had gluten-free stuff that I'm like, "Bro,
Yeah,
am I
exactly.
eating cardboard? Like, why would you sell this?"
Exactly. It's mean almost because it's like
Yeah.
you're advertising something, but it's so not good that like it's
Yeah.
hurtful, like it's insulting.
And you're
So
never gonna buy it again.
yeah,
You're not gonna recommend it, like, just do good stuff, people.
yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, let's get back to the show.
Okay.
You know what's frustrating? Losing your wallet. And you know sometimes what's even more painful? Realizing your almost full punch card from your favorite cafecito spot is now gone. But at least, even when your cafecito points have vanished, at BMO, if you lose your debit card, they'll print you a new one instantly at a local branch. Plus, you can use your phone to freeze your debit card to prevent any unauthorized transactions. Learn more at bmo.com. Conditions apply. Accounts provided in the United States by BMO Bank and a member FDIC. Let's talk about something we all deserve: financial empowerment. Whether you're tackling debt, planning for retirement, or starting that dream business, navigating your finances can feel overwhelming. But it doesn't have to be, thanks to Savvy Ladies. Savvy Ladies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women like you take control of your financial future. They offer free resources, webinars, and my favorite, a free financial helpline where you can connect one on one with trusted financial experts. And yes, it's completely free. Whether you're just starting your financial journey or need guidance on a specific challenge, Savvy Ladies is here to provide quality and trusted advice you can count on. So why wait? Visit savvyladies.org today and connect with the financial helpline to get the personalized support you deserve. Your journey to financial independence starts here. That is savvyladies.org. Your path to financial freedom can start today. Okay, Hattie. So we briefly talked about the refranes, and I'm curious, what is the refran that you are living through right now?
Oh gosh, that's such a good question. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to think on my feet as quickly as I'd like to, because I'd like to mention something that was not in the book. But I do feel like I live so many refranes day to day. I talk about a lot of them all the time. I'm like always like blah blah blah. But maybe the one that I think is speaking to me like in this moment is the one that lo que pa ti nadie te lo quita.
Mm.
Um, that one is important to me right now because I'm in this stage where the book is about to go live. I've been working on it for a while. I'm I invested a lot in this book. I am hoping that it's going to open more doors for me.
It definitely will.
I am hopeful, but it's like I don't know what's going to happen. I'm in this like right on the brink of something, and it's either going to be something big or it's going to be a big dud, which hopefully is not a dud and
Be
it's
big,
something big.
Hattie. You deserve it.
But like, yeah, but I have to follow my own advice, which is if it's meant for me, it's not going to pass me by. Like if I'm meant to be like this kick-ass author or like this speaker that's going to like rock your world with this message, it's coming. And I just got to stay ready. So that I think is what I'm holding on to for now.
Yes, I love that. Lo que es para ti, nadie te lo quita.
Eso mismo.
En México decimos, cuando te toca, aunque te quites, y cuando no te toca, aunque te pongas.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And I think I like that because it's like you could be trying to force something. And I learned cuando yo era jovencita, yo me metía and dale, que dale,
Mhm,
dale, que dale, y salía like tan mal. And I was like, maybe that wasn't for me. Like
mhm,
after all that tira y
mhm.
jala, I was like, I don't think that was supposed to be for me. And so now I like, I try. And then I'm like, if it's met with a lot of resistance, I'm like, you know what? I think that that is not meant for me. And if it is, it's gonna kind of resurface, especially when things like keep popping up, keep popping up. I'm like, okay, that means I think the universe is trying to tell me something. So
Yes.
I like that whole because that's adds so much mystery and fun to life. Is like there's like you live in your life, and then it's like what the universe has planned for you, and the seeds that get planted, and the people that enter your life. And a great example is like, I'm thinking about like how am I going to get the word out for this book? And the universe has been bringing so many people into my life. Like I didn't know you yesterday, and today we're on a not me and you, but there's
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
been
yeah.
people that I met online, and they're like, "Do you want to come on a, can you want to be a guest on my
Yes.
podcast?" And I'm like, "I didn't know you 5 minutes ago, and now you're helping me put this book into the world." And I don't even know, your audience and who else message is going to touch. And that is why you can't ask, how is it going to happen? Don't worry about how. You do the work that you need to
Yes.
do, and it's going to unfold as it needs to, and you have to trust. So anyway, to me, that's like the magic of what the, life can be quite troubling and complex and challenging and all those things, but it has a lot of brings a lot of magic with it too. And I think that aspect of what the
Mm.
universe is building for you is part of the magic.
And I love that you mentioned trust, because I believe that if we get a seed planted of an idea and we follow it, it like calls us in to be like, oh, this is it. Like you writing this book and sharing about your life, because it's intimate. I'm like over here, like I know you, and about your dad's shoe store, and
I know. I was gonna say, what was the most? Was there anything that surprised you, or like anything that was like, "Ooh,
I really
girl"?
love that the stories about your dad's shoe store, like that story of like how you were behind the register, and and people would be like, "No me cobra tax."
Yeah, Mingo no me cobra tax. I was like, I know. I already heard that story before. I know. That was actually one of the most fun chapters to, or like stories to tell. And it made me cry like almost every time I read it for a while. So I would say that was one of the more emotional ones for some reason. And
Wow.
even with the Ilitos and how he would help, with it was, yeah, it definitely was a good example of what a business could be
Yeah.
and what a business could do and how you could really be very focused on the community and being of service. Yeah.
And do
So,
it on your terms. That's what I loved, because it made me think a lot about how he could have been like, "No, but I have to do this because this is how you do the things." But he chose to do it for the gente,
yeah.
and so that brought loyalty, that brought trust.
And he never got rich. Y la gente lo criticaban. They were like, no, pero si tú regalas los zapatos, tú de cada rato le estás dando descuento a la gente,
Mm,
like it wasn't quote unquote a good business model. But that was okay because he wasn't trying to be rich. He was just trying to make sure his family got fed and we had a roof over our shoulder, and we did.
yeah,
And that's how I am now too. I'm like, I don't need to be a millionaire. I just need to, pay my bills on time and maybe have a little
yeah.
extra money to shop or travel. But, I don't need that much.
And this is, I think, like that chapter in a way gave the reader, or gives the reader, permission to say, you choose your own adventure.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't have to be whatever success you define. It's your success, and nobody can question it. Just like how you've chosen to live your life.
Yeah.
Nobody can
Agreed.
question it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's such a good point. But it was really touching for me that particular chapter because I talked a lot about like you know like I had to climb the ladder and I used to come after
Hmm.
CCD class, so it did paint a picture for sure.
For sure. No, I could see you. I could be like, I could even hear like, I don't know, the New York City sounds everywhere. You know, it was a fun one. So I'm curious, how did you change from the beginning to now? So from the moment you made a decision to say, I am going to write this book. This is the time. Even before you joined the accelerator, because that at that point you've already decided, right?
Yeah.
But even before that, from that moment to the present Hady now, till today, because tomorrow, like after you go on tour, then it might change.
Yeah.
But how are you different, and how did this book change you?
I think one, it definitely gave me permission to say what I needed to say. Like I feel like if I needed to practice what I was preaching. So
Mm,
it gave me an opportunity to also be more brave. I talk a lot about showing up for other Latinas, and I think about like my illustrator was Latina, my two editors were Latina, my PR coach is Latina, my media manager is Latina, my street team person is Latina. Like I had Latinas involved. My 9 out of the people who endorsed me, I had 11 people endorse me. 9 of them were Latina. The person who wrote my forward is Latina. Like so I say, yo, we got to show up for each other. Like these streets are hard. These are some mean streets. We got to, be there for each other. And I needed to practice that. So it gave me an opportunity to really put into practice the things. Like I was like, hey, people are going to look at me and they're gonna be like, ah, mira, esta, di que saying all these things about Latinas, and then she had the X fill in the blank editor or fill in the blank whatever. And I was like, all my decisions were very deliberate, um, very important too. Like I was like, I want a Latina editor, period. I also feel like I am an expert in the lived experience of walking in the body of a Latina and a woman of color, and I have fully stepped into that. Like I'm like, no, like anybody else is gonna be like, but no, but no, but nothing.
Mhm.
This is I am the expert. So, shh. And I really wanted to write something where no one could question me. And I'm like, what is the thing that I can talk about that no one could be like, oh no, it's not like that. Or oh, like it's nuanced. No, it's not nuanced, it's not nothing. It's this is how it is. Period. Punto. I don't want anybody questioning me on it. And so I felt like I'm glad I picked it. That's why this topic was really important to me too. And I feel like I have a lot of I feel a lot more like an expert in
Mhm.
this, and also like it's helped me listen also. So now when I meet other Latinas and like they say things that I talk about in the book, I'm like, nailed it, nailed it. Like I'm like, yep. And when I'm in it, I don't even get mad. I'm like, this is perfect, because this is exactly what I talk about, so I know what I'm talking about. It affirms for me so much that what I said is true. And then like, like even today someone posted something on LinkedIn. When I was in at the Leading Latinas conference, I hosted a workshop and it was called Networking for Jefas. And one of the questions I had was like, what refrán or dicho or consejo do you lean into as a leader? And so it's like a different way of looking at the world,
Yeah.
right? Because you're like, do I do that? And it's like, yeah, I think I do.
Mhm.
And so someone posted about it and like gave me credit and was like, thank you for bringing it up. And they said, this is not only our superpower, but these are our super words. Like, this is so important. And like people were commenting and like, they're like, I love this. This is great. And this is my favorite refran. And every time I talk about refranes, it's like everybody's a closet refran lover, because people
Yeah.
will remember that they do love refranes, and that they remember like a tia or abuela or somebody in their family talking about refranes. So I feel so that's really affirming too, that I used refranes as like I grounded us in refranes, and I'm so glad I did, because I feel like that is very relatable.
Totally. We've all heard, I mean, this is why we close Café con Pan with a quote or mantra, which is a refrán.
Yeah.
For the last 9 years, we've been talking about this because it's something that is so familiar to us. We hear it all the time.
Exactly. That's right. And the thing is that I think it's almost, I don't want to say too familiar, but it's something that we probably don't even notice all the time. And that's why I
Mm,
think like when I asked that question, everybody was like, "Huh?" And then
you're
they were like,
right.
"Oh, well, now that you mention it, I think I actually do have something to say about that. I think I do have a refran that has shaped me." So, yeah.
I love that. So, Hattie, tell us all the places and spaces where we can find you, where we can find the book, where we can get it.
Okay.
By the time this is released, it will still be on pre-order.
Yeah.
Super important for people to pre-order the book, right?
So, you can learn more about the book at calladitanomore.com. And if you're not sure how to spell that, or that feels overwhelming, just go to boldlyspeakingllc.com. That's like my website. Or you could just go to my LinkedIn. So I would say LinkedIn, boldlyspeakingllc.com, Calladita No More. And then if you like and you're on Instagram, I'm Calladita No More Book on Instagram. So you can find me there too.
And we have it all the links in the show notes. So, listeners, you don't
Excellent.
have to frantically try to remember. Um, okay, last few questions. You have a core mantra that, or your refran that you want to leave us with? We've already talked about it, but is there another one?
Yeah, I think dime con quién andas y te diré quién
Oh,
eres.
that's a good
It's
one.
such a good one. Mommy always used to say that about the friends. But I feel like my crew that I roll with, and like I look at the list of women that endorse my book, and I'm like, woo, yes, we're warrior women.
Yes, yes, yes. And it makes me think of another one that's anda con lobos y aprenderás a aullar. Kind of like ties into that. Dime con
Yeah.
quién andas y te diré quién es, because like to bring it back to hanging out with people that are doing things as they say you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Yep.
Choose your people wisely.
Yeah. Level up, to
Mhm.
try to pick people that are people you aspire to be like, because I think that really helps.
Indeed, indeed. What is the remedio you want to share with us?
So it's arroz con leche. I know it's a kind of a weird remedio, but like that was my father's answer to everything because I've always had stomach issues. I write in the book that I'm gluten free, dairy free. I also share in the book that I'm an anxious person, which Pam, I hope you could relate to because I feel like you're pretty open about your
Oh, yeah.
uh
My anxiety? 100%.
yeah, and you're like you talk about I love everything that you share, and I think you modeled good behavior for me. I was like, oh, let me just say it. It's like not that serious, but like I am an anxious person, and I've always had stomach issues, and so like whenever I had like tummy aches when I was little, my father was like, "Quiere que te haga arroz con leche?" And I was like, ah. And then it come to find out that I'm lactose intolerant, so the whole time I was
Oh
adding
my
milk.
to make you even more sick. Oh my
That's a
gosh.
different story. I don't remember ever feeling more sick after having it, so I might have gotten lactose intolerant later,
Yeah.
but, like, I just remember and that's my father didn't cook, so that was the only thing he knew how to make was this arroz. Maybe he learned how to make coffee later, but, like, he didn't do much around the house because he was always working, but he knew this arroz con leche was his thing, and I would say, "Mami, dile a
Wow.
papá que me haga arroz con leche," like, that was, like he was the official arroz con leche guy, and I was probably the one that had it the most. I was the baby of the family too, so
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
that
yeah.
contributed to it too. Yeah.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Did he put sugar, cinnamon?
No, salt. It's a savory thing. It's not a sweet thing.
Oh. We make it sweet. In Mexico, we make arroz con leche sweet.
There is an arroz con leche that is sweet, that is like a postre, like a dessert, but this
Uh-huh.
was more like esto era como un asopao de arroz con un poco de sal. And
Okay.
it was like a rice soup. Yeah, it's like a rice soup. And it's quite tasty. I've made it. I made it since like once when I was like grown and I was like, yo, that should help me back in the day. Let me see if it fixes me now. But it's not the same with like plant-based milk because
Mhm.
cow milk is so much more rich and thick. So the consistency is definitely different, taste is different, but it's just literally rice, milk, and salt. And you basically get the rice really, really, really soft.
Uh-huh.
And then you like it's like a soup.
How fun. Imma try that. I'm a big fan of sweet arroz con leche.
If you Google arroz con leche puertorriqueño or something like that, you might get it. It might come up.
Which, side note, I've said this many times, but I was kind of mad when I went to Puerto Rico. I was in my 20s, and I tasted Puerto Rican food, and I was like, "Why have I been 20 years of my life without this?"
It is good. I ain't gonna lie, it's very good. Puerto Rican food is bomb, and I was just
It's so good.
just having been there, I ate out a little bit, but my cousin's a really good cook. She made some dishes that were from my childhood because
Oh.
I don't like I don't cook. I make salads at home and stuff like that. So to have like a home cooked rice with beans and whatever
Mhm.
acompañante, ooh, it was very good. It was very good food. So I was really
Mhm.
happy about that. Yeah.
Mhm. I remember we would stop by, like, the puestos on the streets
Yeah.
and get ¿cómo se llama la cosa del palito con pollo?
Oh, como un pincho.
El pincho. Oh my gosh. Every time we would see one, I'd be like, "We have to stop." And they'd be like, "You need to stop eating so much." And
I
I'm
don't
like,
think I've ever had that. That's not
"What?"
something that I had at home, and I never had that in the street. No, so I don't think I've ever tasted it, but I
Oh,
know what
I
it is.
so did.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm from Mexico City. There's taco stands on the street, and we call those tacos de muerte lenta because you never know, you know?
Listen, I lived in Bolivia for 2 years, and I made the mistake of in my first 10 days there, I had a drink that was literally in a pail, and I remember lo hizo en un balde de agua.
Oh my
And
god.
she was selling it like in the mercado. Y yo le pregunté a my host mom, can I drink that? Y ella me dijo, sí, sí, eso, it's clean. Muchacha, que sí que. I got so sick. That was my first time getting um, parasites, parásitos. Y yo
Ooh.
viví con parásitos almost the whole time that I was there because it's everywhere. There's a lot of food contamination there.
Oh my
I had
gosh.
to limit my intake of fruit and vegetables a lot when I was there because it was pervasive.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
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 And, like, people that live there, you build a stomach for it,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's different. I remember I had fish with a friend of mine, like a whole year later. I was with my Bolivian friend and her family, and it was like a Sunday after church, and they're like, "Oh, fish," and I was like, "Can I eat that?" Because I always like I gotta trust them because I don't know. And
Right.
eso lo que había, no había otra cosa que comer. Like, I was like, eat that or eat,
No
nothing.
choice.
Yeah. So I said, "Yo puedo comer eso?" Y ella dijo, "Sí, claro," because they all were eating it. And then I got mad sick, and I was like, "Hey, by the way," I'm like, but a
Can't
otra
eat that
persona
fish.
de afuera, don't recommend that." And she was like, "Wow, you must have a sensitive stomach." I'm like, "Yeah, girl, you already knew that part. Like, of course I have a sense. I've
Yeah.
been having amoeba since I got here."
Oh my
It was
gosh.
horrible. That really wrecked my stomach, man.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Pero bueno, the last question, um, so I'm gonna switch it up. So usually is what productivity tip, trick, or tool you want to share, but I'm going to switch it up to what tip, trick, or tool has helped you speak out loud more, speak up more.
Wow, that's a good question. I knew you were gonna ask me a good question. I was already ready to answer that other one. Um, I think it has to do with being afraid and doing it anyway. For people to know that sometimes the fears, it never goes away. Like, you might get a little bit more brave, but it's not like because every situation is different. Sometimes
Mhm.
people welcome your input, sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're in a space where you are literally the only one that's a Latina and or a
Yeah.
woman or the combination of the two. And so some places are a little bit more scary than others. So I would say, but the fear is kind of always there. You just never know how people are going to receive it. I've been blessed with having allies that will back me up and stand, like, be like, "I think that's a great idea. I love Hattie's idea. Let's do something like that." I've had that happen to me, but more often than not, people just say, "Okay, thanks for your input," and they move on to something else. And I'm glad I said it anyway. It's good to practice speaking even when you're scared, because there's going to come a moment when what you say could really change a situation. And so you got to keep building that muscle so that when your voice and what you have to say really matters, you're going to be in the position to speak out. Like, don't let that be the first time you speak out, because you might be too chicken to say it. So just keep practicing, do it with people that you know are going to support you, do it with people that maybe are not going to be supportive. um I remember I had a manager, and I talk about this in the book. He was like, "You're very disruptive."
Yeah.
He called me that, and he dinged me on my, like, review. And allegedly that was one of the reasons why I wasn't, moving, sort of advancing in that organization, was because I was too disruptive. And when I asked for, like, examples, he was like, "Well, you're like, you asked us, like, if you needed to come to a meeting, or if, like, the meeting needed to be at that time, because maybe people were picking up children in school." I advocate for a mother, and I'm not a mother,
Right.
but I will advocate for a mother. Be like, "Hey, isn't that like mealtime? Isn't that like dinner time for families? I could get on the phone whenever, and I will bring my dinner with me. Listen, if you schedule a call at 5:30, you best believe I'm gonna have food in my mouth." But other people want to be with their families, or they're preparing meals, or they're picking up kids, or they're, dropping off kids, or whatever. I always advocate for anybody. And I remember being called disruptive, but that didn't make me stop. I was like, "Y'all claim that this is a safe space. Y'all are always inviting questions and points of views and saying, like, hey, does anybody have any concerns? So don't say that and then ding me. It can't be both. That doesn't, like, those are
Double standard,
competing
no?
things." Yeah. So I said it anyway. And I was like, "I don't care. Like, you call me whatever you want. I feel like I need to advocate for myself and for maybe people on the team that are not even here right now." And I did.
Nice.
And that helped me to be used to speaking out when it mattered more, because there were other
Right.
circumstances where it mattered a lot more. Those were trivial things in the scheme of things. It wasn't a big
You
deal.
had practice.
But I had practice, and I had, like, developed that skill set so I could be more brave when it really was required.
I love that. Well, Hady Méndez, thank you so much for coming to Café con Pam.
I loved it. Thank you for having me. This is a dream come true. I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you. You were a sponsor also. So you've
Yeah.
always supported us. So of course.
Yeah, I have been a listener for some time. And I was in, what do you call the other thing, the written, I got a written
A pour
spotlight.
over.
Yeah, I got a pour over also. I was like something like this. Yeah, I was a pour over too. But this, I'm so happy that I got to be here finally, and I loved being in conversation with you. You're one of my favorite podcasters. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work for your book. Listeners get Calladita No More everywhere.
Yay!
Awesome. All right, listeners. That was our conversation. What do you think? Definitely order the book. Definitely see if you can get it in your local library. That helps. Always support authors by pre-ordering. If the book is no longer in pre-order, if you can order it now, definitely do that. Because when I write a book, I'm going to really push for people to pre-buy it. It's a way to let the world know that authors like us are needed. And so I hope you had fun during this conversation. We explored a lot of things. Hady, of course, is awesome, and she's been a long time Café con Pam listener, a long time supporter. She sponsored Café con Pam at some point, and Hady's the real deal. For real, she's the real deal. Hady is one of those people that she walks the talk, and I can attest to that. So an honor to be able to share her story, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Y bueno, let's stay connected at Café con Pam Podcast on all the socials, cafeconpam.com, to figure out what is my next thing that you can stay connected with me on. If you feel called to support our work, we are a small but mighty team, and anything helps because we're still considered an indie podcast. Sharing it, it's the easiest way to support us. Share with your friends, share with your primas, share with your tias, share with whoever you think will benefit from this. Leave a rating and a review on whatever platform of choice. If you're watching us on YouTube, this is where you can drop your comments. Nice comments. You know, people on YouTube are interesting. And subscribe, hit the bell so you are in the know anytime, all the times we publish new shows, new episodes. Of course, join the Supporters Club. You get early content, you get exclusive content, you get extra content sometimes. And this is a way for you to choose to buy us coffee once a month for $5 a month. It's not much. You can also check out all my work. I already told you this, cafeconpam.com. If you are an organization, you can hire me to speak at your company. This is something that drives me so much because I get to share my body of work and we get to expand this knowledge beyond your ears. Bring me to your workplace, to your organization, to your institution, to your college. Let's bring these conversations to even more people. I would love to do a live podcast at a college. How fun would that be? Who's going to take me up on, on it? Y bueno, let me know. Let me know, though. I'm serious about that. Thank you so much for listening, de verdad. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to the team for doing all the work that it takes to get this podcast to your ears. Y bueno, como siempre, sigue brillando.
Sabrosura pa' ti que